This meeting is being recorded.
There it is. Look at all those voices. Sweet. All right, I need that screen. I need that screen. I need this screen. I need to do some stuff on my end. There we go. Good. All right. So yeah, definitely casing the Mondays today. And also, fair warning, and I do this at sunglasses, Kyle is extremely uncaffeinated. So, because Starbucks was like a little bit out of the way, and my coffee maker is still in a box downstairs. So he was like, you know what? It's fine. I got water. I got you guys. So you're going to have to give me energy over here so we can get it all the way through and through studio review. But if it looks like my mind has gone blank for a moment, it's because I don't have my legal drug inside of my body. All right. Now that we have this, I do not have closed captions right now. Like I mentioned, unfortunately, that will be in all of the next lectures. This one is the last one without those. I apologize. It's enabled, but we'd have to restart the whole shebang in order to get it on right now. So I apologize. Next one, though, have it. Yeah, because I know we're okay. Yeah, thank you for calling me out, though. For the future ones, if they're not on, let me know, because they should be on. Awesome. All right. Everyone, I am excited to see you all today. Welcome to Lecture 3. Today, we are going to be going over strings and arrays. So everyone, make sure you have at least your coffee, if you're lucky enough to have it, your snack, your popcorn, your water, whatever you need to get through this lecture with me. That's what should be on your desk. And also, maybe some pen and paper, or maybe a computer, whatever. Whatever you need, let's dive into this. We're going to learn some cool stuff today. As always, as announcements first. This is the last time I'm going to be telling you all of this, that the videos are uploaded. They will always be uploaded. We're always going to have the lecture up there, as well as all the studio reviews, but they're always going to be on that YouTube channel. If you don't have the YouTube channel, feel free to check it out in the announcements channel. If you can't find it in the announcements channel, feel free to direct message me. I'm happy to share you with that link. But it'll all be there. 2 lectures are posted there and 1 studio review. We didn't have studio review last time. I just can't answer questions, so there won't be a recording for that. Awesome. All right. Next up is assignment number 1. Make sure by the 20th that part B is completed. And I'm going to make sure here. Let's see. Clark reached out here. Let's see. Yes, part 2, assignment 1 is due on the 20th. Well, part 3 and the entire assignment is due on the 24th, excuse me, by that 5:30 p.m. mark. So don't forget about that. I'm going to be chiming in your ear the entire time. Get that stuff done. Do not fall behind, especially on assignment number 1, since that is a drop assignment. They do not joke around with those. Unfortunately, I have no power over it, but launch code does look very, very hard on assignment 1, and it is a very hard drop date. So please make sure you get that done sooner rather than later so we can keep having fun here and learning new things. All right, speaking of learning new things, well, actually, this is going to be more old stuff. You all are going to tell me about the things that we've been learning here. Help me out with some of this stuff. We're going to go over everything we have learned. We have learned a lot of stuff. So let's put it to some good use here. Help me out with this. How would we create a variable named pet name with the value of Bella? Go ahead and unmute yourself and talk me through it.
Let pet name equal to Bella.
Now ask yourself, every time we create a variable, we have to ask ourselves a question. Will it change?
So it would be const.
Very good. Yes, a pet name typically doesn't change. So this one is a slight trick question. I apologize. I do not like trick questions. But in this one, we have to really take into account what is the variable. In this case, yes, const, but I heard everything else correctly there. So const, pet name, and you're absolutely Bella. Those double quotes there, perfect. Awesome. Let's bring in another variable here called pet message. Pet name plus is a dog. Awesome. And then we're going to console log this. Would this work? Look at this code here. Be that human compiler. Would that work if we type this out right now in Replit?
No.
No. Why not?
It's not in sequential order.
Very good. You're exactly correct. We're going sequentially. And we're asking for pet message at the first line, line 1, when it's assigned on line 3 there. So no, this would not work. Very good. We need to move it below pet message there so we can actually use that. Awesome job, everyone. Keep going. How would we set pet message to high star only if the pet name is Stark? So we're reassigning pet message here only if the pet name is Stark. What would we use here?
If.
And if, I like that. What do we start with?
If.
Exactly. Kyle, you're making me say it twice. Absolutely. Yes, we're going to use that keyword if. Very good. And help me out. Write out this conditional. What are we going to write in here? What's the next thing we need to put?
Pet
If
name.
Parentheses, pet name,
Parentheses,
triple equals.
parentheses. Very good. We start out all of our conditionals with parentheses. And I also heard everyone else saying in there, you're absolutely right, correct. Pet name, and then that triple equals. And then what was after this?
Bella.
Start.
Stark.
You have to double check
Start
what our
or start.
directions say. In this case,
Yeah.
yes, you're absolutely right. Start is what we need
With
to
the
put up here.
quotes.
That means
Very good. And then we're going to close that parentheses. Now what comes after this? We've written our if, we've written in the
Curly.
parentheses,
Curly brace.
curly brace.
the curly brackets.
Curly brace.
Very good. Curly brackets. This stuff inside the curly brackets is what's going to be executed if that conditional is true.
Console.
So
Console.
what is
Console
the
log.
code we want to do? What does our directions tell us we need to do?
Console log.
Pet message equal to hi Stark.
Very good. We have to take a very close look at our directions. It's saying set pet message to hi Stark, set pet message to hi Stark if this conditional is true. Console log, remember, only just shows the human what they want to see. In this case, we're asking it to be reassigned. So you're absolutely right. Pet message equals hi Stark. Remember, console log is only for the human eyes. If it's asking you to set something, it means it's for the human, or excuse me, it's for the computer consumption or for a computer's reason. AKA, we need to set that variable equal to something else. In this case, hi Stark. Very good. Any questions about that? All right, and let's keep going. How do we set pet message to hello Bella only if the pet name is Bella? What would we do here?
If pet name triple equals Bella, and then just curly bracket, pet message
Like, hello, Bella.
equals hello Bella.
I like all of that, but we missed one big thing. We said if, that's
All
great,
if
but what else should we maybe do? Exactly. We have the option to write a whole nother if statement if we want, but we can ask ourselves too, can that if statement be chained to the one above it? So what word should we say? Very good.
If
Else. We're going to actually do else if.
Else if.
So remember, it's else and then if. We only start with if only on the top line ever. So yes, very good. Else if, and then I already heard that conditional there. Very good. Pet name triple equals to Bella. Then we close that parentheses and we put in that curly bracket and we're ready to do some coding. In this case, we set our pet message to hello Bella. Awesome. Let's keep going here. How do we set pet message to who let the dog out, or sorry, who let this dog out if it is any other name?
Else.
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 Very good. Else. Else means otherwise. Else means in any other case, do this
Doesn't
please.
meet.
And then the
So in
curly
this case, we put curly brackets there and say pet message equals who let this dog out. So absolutely right. Remember, else is for any other situation, any other case. So that's what we're doing here. Awesome. Any questions on this, on our new friend, the if statement? Everybody well acquainted with the if statement? Anybody mad at the if statement? Doesn't like the if statement? I love the if statement. I don't know why. Yeah, what's going on?
Is since we're isn't there that switch block for when we're checking against a single variable in all of our if every if condition is checking the same variable, you can use that switch statement.
Yeah, absolutely. So we haven't really talked about switches too much in lecture, but yes, you're absolutely right. Switch cases can be used in that case. Yep. Very good. Awesome. Any other questions? Oh, I am seeing. Okay. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Let's keep going here. All right, we got three variables here. So the pet name, the pet message, and the pet age now. How do we set pet message to a grown pup if the pet age is 6? Again, what tool are we going to use, everyone?
Increment.
I think I heard it. What tool are we going to use?
If statement.
An if statement. Very good. And talk me through this. How are we going to do this if statement? What do we start with after the if?
Parentheses.
Parentheses.
Very good. A parentheses, and then help me write this conditional.
Pet age equals 6.
Triple equals 6. Remember always that triple equals, but I think you already knew that, but just to make sure we always vocalize it, triple equals 6, just like that. Awesome. And I'll even do this for you because I'm feeling generous. Pet message equals a grown pup. Now, one thing I want to talk to you all about is what if we wanted Bella to be older than the age of 1? So we say that if Bella is older than 1, then Bella is a grown pup. Well, let's go ahead and write this conditional. It's unlike something we've seen in lecture just yet. Just like before, we're going to use pet age. That's completely fine here. So we say pet age, and then we say if pet age is greater than 1, set pet message to a grown pup, meaning Bella is all grown up. She's 2, 3, whatever. She's a grown pup now. So this means any case, any number above 1, we're going to update this variable. This thing here is what we really want to talk about. What exactly is this thing? And you've probably seen this from, again, those mathematics back in grade school or whatever. You've seen this before. It's always a shark mouth, right? I always thought shark or alligator. Anyway, we're going to bring in that little shark mouth. We're going to talk about it. As you already know, this is called the greater than symbol. And if you don't, this is going to be well acquainted. So this is the greater than symbol, where the mouth is on the left-hand side. In this case, if we look at an example, 5 greater than 10 is 5 greater than 10. So in this case, this conditional will return back false. Another one I want to show you is that what if it says 3 greater than 3? Now answer yourself this one, is it true or false? In this case, it's also going to be false because 3 is not greater than 3. 3 is 3. Greater than and is are 2 different things. So very good. And I'll take a look at your question here in just a moment, but sorry, so looking at the Thursday chant, let me double check here before we keep going on, just because it's to stop. Part 2, assignment 1 is due 1/20, part 3, the full assignment, and deadline is still due on 1/24. So, you have the pieces, part 1 and 2C. We'll take a look exactly. That was the announcement I got from Clark, is that part 2 is due on the 20th for assignment number 1. But we're not going to worry about it too much. We'll go, remind you at the end of class if it isn't addressed, and we'll dive a little bit more into it. Back to here. Okay, it looks like it was updated. Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. So it looks like it was updated there. So great call out there. But assignment 1, part 2 is still due on the 20th. As of right now, that's what I got from Clark. I'll double check with him, but that is what I have. All right, bring it back in here. Let's do some more math comparators. So we already got our greater than comparator. Let's bring in another one. This one is the greater than equal. So this is called greater than or equal. So we have the greater than sign and the equal sign right next to each other. This is another comparator we can use in our conditionals. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few examples. Here we see 5 is greater than or equal to 5. Or excuse me, 5 is greater than or equal to 10. Sorry, see caffeine level right there. Is this true or false? This one is also false. Very good, because 5 is not greater than 10. Unfortunately, it will never be that, so it will always be false. Let's take a look at that same example. 3 greater than or equal to 3. Is this true or false? Here is something different. This one is actually true because we're checking not only if it's greater than 3, but also if it's a greater or equal to 3. 3 is equal to 3, therefore this is true. So if you see this in the conditional, it will come back true. Awesome. Let's keep working our way down here. This one is the exact opposite of greater than. As you probably know, it's called a less than or lesser than symbol. So let's take a look at those examples. As always, is 5 less than 10? If you said true, feel good about yourself, you're absolutely right. You still remember that 5 is less than 10. Fantastic. Let's take a look at 3 less than 3. Is 3 less than 3? No, 3 is 3, so this is false. Awesome. And as you might have guessed too, the lesser than symbol does also have a friend. That lesser than or equal to symbol as well. These are all able to be used in your conditionals. So this less than or equal to. So as always, is 5 less than or equal to 10? It sure is. So this is true. But then of course we come over here, is 3 less than or equal to 3? This is also true because 3 is 3. Remember, it checks those two things. So take a look at this. We just added 4 new comparators to our big comparator family. Don't forget about our original 2. We had the equal to and not equal to with those strict equals in there. Remember, we always want to use our strict equals when doing this. So I'm going to pause here, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and let you all unmute yourself. Any questions about these comparators that we just looked at? Anything at all? All right, going once, going twice. Sold to more knowledge coming your way. All right, let's keep going here. We're going to bring it back in to comparing some comparators. And guess what? You do have to talk to me. You didn't want to ask me questions? Well, now you're going to have to tell me things about our comparators. What if the pet age needs to be between 1 and 6? So let's go ahead and take a look at this. We see a pet age here of equal to 6. So first of all, what tool are we going to be using to do this check to see if pet age is between 1 and 6? Now, I'll answer this one for you, but you're probably already answering in your head. It's going to be an if statement too. I promise this is not a trick question. I don't like trick questions. Promise they're not usually going to be it. We're going to be using that if statement where you need to check something. We're asking a question. Is pet age between 1 and 6? Now, this is one thing I really want to show you all. The first thing we're going to do is to see, is it greater than or equal to 1? Because dog age can be 1. Is it between 1 and 6? Is the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, or 7, or 8, or 9, whatever? Excuse me. So right now, this conditional would be true if the number is 1, 2, 3, or 100. But is 100 between 1 and 6? The answer is no.
No.
So we need to put a container on the other end. We need to say, hey, stop at 6, please. So in that case, we chain another conditional to it. We say, and dog age is less than or equal to that containment, that end, 6. Very good. Here is our conditional to ask, is this between a set of numbers? Is it equal to or greater than 1 and less than or equal to 6? Therefore, if you ask yourself this exact question, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all within this conditional. So we're able to do this. This right here is how we ask about a range of numbers. And it is also very popular to use. So any questions on this?
Why are we not using pet age? Why are we using dog age?
Oh, because
I didn't know you were trying to trick us. I don't know.
I am trying to trick you. You are up. Good. Yes, I will keep teaching. If no one caught that, I was going to stop right there. Awesome job. It's because I messed up. And that's why I use pencil most of the time, because I will be making mistakes, but you got to catch them as much as you can. No, absolutely right. In this case, this code technically wouldn't work because dog age was not declared. So use pet age. I was, I guess, trying to be inclusive to all pets, but I said nope, dogs only on the bottom. So no, pet age would definitely be that variable one. It's very good. Great catch there. Any other questions? Anything else? All right, let's keep rolling. Now, we're looking at all of this. Now, there's something here that we have seen before, but we want to dive a little bit deeper in today. We are taking this so far for granted. We've talked about this thing here, Bella, between these two quotes quite a bit. Now, answer to yourself, what is this data type? You answered string. You got brownie points. I couldn't hear you, so can't really give out the brownie points, but just know you got personal brownie points right there. It is a string, and we knew it was a string because it was wrapped in those double quotes. But let's go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into what a string is. Let's get rid of those quotes for a moment and explore it. Now, a string is a set of alphanumeric or symbolic characters. You know, strings as in, it's a grown pup, exclamation point, or I live at 123 Main Street. That's a string. An address is a string. It contains numbers. It contains periods, characters, alphanumeric, alpha characters. So where am I going with this? Strings are built up of individual components called characters. strings are built up of individual things called characters, and we can split this string into its individual characters and look at them individually. So a big thing to note is that strings are actually made up of a smaller thing called characters. Think of matter, because I'm a nerd. Think of matter. Matter is made up of atoms. We're not just all one piece, we're made up of little individual cells. Strings are made up of characters. Now, when we're looking at the word Bella, these characters come in a very specific order. They start with B and end with A. But today we're going to learn a new way to count these. We're going to see that Bella with B actually starts at the 0th index of the string. Now, these are some weird things. I just said the 0th index. What do I mean by that? Well, index is basically just the address or the box I'm looking in right now. B, this first box. But for programmers, the first box, when we're numbering them, starts with 0. Now you're asking yourself, why do we do this? It's because we want to make things more complicated for you. So just know that every single time that we start with numbers in programming, we start with 0. So as I go forward, I'm going to start referring to where the B is in this first box as the 0th index. So that is what's going on here. So take a very close look at the 0 and just note that we will always start with the 0th index in these boxes when we're splitting things into its individual characters, like with strings. So I don't see anybody type in there. Feel free to remember to type out those questions if everyone has it. No one has those. And keep moving on just a little bit further. Now, one thing I want to talk about is like, okay, we just knew strings can be made into individual characters. But what if, or how can we get one of these characters out of the string? Well, I know you're probably all wondering this, so why not we actually try to do this? I know you're just absolutely curious about how to do this. So let's go and do that. What we're going to do is set Bella to a variable. We're going to say const pet name, const because the pet name is not going to change, equal to Bella. Yes, the quotes are missing. This is just for an example. So we want to get, I don't know, let's see. We're going to get the, I don't even know, I think the B out of there. Let's just get the capital B there. So what I do is I start with a variable name named pet name. And now I want to ask for, can I have the 0th index, please? How I do that to a string is I include a square bracket. The square bracket is saying I want a particular index out of this thing, out of this string. In this example, I want the 0th index, so I put 0 here. This, what we just saw, is called bracket notation. We are using square brackets to ask for some information, aka this capital B, out of the pet name, using this notation. Inside of the bracket notation, we include one number, whether it be 0 or 200, to ask for that particular box's info. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is assign this now to a variable. Once we gather that data there with using bracket notation, we can set it to a variable. In this case, I called it a char. Char is an abbreviated way of saying character. You'll see char quite often as we move through programming. Char means character. So in this case, we can set capital B to a char there. And we can do something with it then. We can do something with that character. Whether you want to add B to something else, whatever, be my guest. Coding is up to your creativity, but this is how we can actually get that information and set it to a variable. Now, before we do any of that, let's go ahead, excuse me. One more thing we're going to take a look at before we move any bit further. Why, instead of just setting it to a variable, let's go ahead and actually display the information. Ask yourself, how do you display information to a human, aka us? We use that console log. So we say console.log, and we can also console log our 0th index of pet name right out to the screen. So that's it right there. So what I'm going to do now is that we're going to go over here to Replit, and we're going to see this thing in action. So we say const pet name equals to Bella. Awesome. Now what I'm going to do is just console log pet name. Now ask yourself, what's going to come back here when I press run? If you answered Bella, you're absolutely correct. Because right now we're just console logging the pet name. Now let's get back that capital B. Someone out there, remind me, what do we use in order to get back just this capital B?
Square
Regular
bracket.
Bracket notation.
Square bracket, bracket notation. So I'm going to put in a square bracket for us. What number am I going to put in there to get back the capital B?
0.
Very good. 0. Awesome job. Run that. And look at what we just got back. That capital B. Bam. B for brain blower. Perfect. Awesome. I swear, my analogies will get better as we go. I promise. I just need the sun back out, and I need a caffeine, a coffee or whatever back in my hand.
Bella.
B for Bella. Also, yes, absolutely. All right. How would I get the S from is console logged? Who can tell me that one?
Okay.
6.
It's
Let's try it.
no.
Da-da-da-da. Oh, we got back I in that one.
I would do the dot
7.
length. Is it too early to do the dot length or the
I
like,
have
to figure out
no
where it is?
idea what you're talking about.
Are spaces considered characters?
They are, yes.
It would be
everything
8.
in the string. Very good. Let's see it. Believe
There
it's
is a
7
cheat
for
way
this
to
one.
count so that you don't have to do what I did and just count. I just can't remember it right.
Well, in this case, we've got to count because we are just starting out. So it is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 7 is right
8.
here. So it is actually going to be 7. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry about that. Look at me. I already forgot to start counting at 0. I'm a terrible programmer. Yes, 7 is the correct answer there. So we put in 7 to do S. All right, one more thing. How would I do the A in awesome? What number would I use?
A.
9.
9.
9.
Very good. 9. Awesome job. Yes. So that is how we get out individual characters out of a string. Use that bracket notation. Bracket notation. Awesome. Any questions here about this before we dive a little bit deeper?
Instead of counting, can we just write index off for pet
I
name?
knew that was it. Like it's something like that.
I have no idea what that is. I mean, if you know what it is, go ahead, but I have no idea what you're talking about. But I'm sure it's something like that is out there. Let's keep diving into it because it sounds like I'm just stopping at a bad time. Everyone's like, already like, this is like a marathon. Everyone's at like mile 20 and I'm back here at like 5. So let's keep going then so we can actually, so I can actually catch up to you all. All right. Let's keep going here. So let's bring back in that pet name Bella. We already know strings can be broken into characters. Awesome. We got that knowledge. Let's keep diving into what else strings can do. What else do they got hiding here for us? So before we do that, let's explain this. Strings are a lot like pets. As always, any pet analogy or pets can be put onto anything, including how strings work. Let's talk about dogs, because you know what? Dogs are awesome. If we tell a dog to speak, the dog speaks. It says woof. Awesome. That dog knows that trick. If I tell my cat, I wish I had a cat, to roll over, the cat rolls over. If your cat can roll over, that's awesome. I was thinking what like tricks pets or like cats can do. I knew this one chick back up, or one like way when I was a young kid that like taught her cats how to like do all these tricks and awesome. Cats can do a lot of cool tricks. Rollover is the one I thought of. So if your cat can roll over, you're awesome because you taught your cat how to do that. Anywho, cats can roll over, they can do tricks. So pets can do tricks. Well, luckily, our strings, like Bella, are also capable of doing tricks. Let's take a look at one real quick. If I told my Bella, and I yelled at Bella, the string here, to go to uppercase, Bella will go to uppercase. You can tell your strings to do tricks. So let's go ahead and explore how to do this. To go to uppercase. How do you yell at your string to do something awesome? Let's explore that real quick. What we do is that we always have to declare our variable up there. So we say const pet name equals Bella. Awesome. But let's go ahead and now ask it to do a trick. In that case, we call to the pet name, the pet name variable, as always, because we want to do something with it. And we tell it to do its trick. How we tell it to do its trick is we say dot to uppercase to go to uppercase. So what we have here is the variable name, the string, or the variable you want to perform the trick on, and then we actually have the trick's name, to uppercase, with those open and closing parentheses, which are extremely important. those denote a trick or some other kind of tool that we're going to be learning about into the future. So this is the trick to perform. The trick, aka what we're actually kind of talking about here, is also called a function. These are functions we can use to do stuff to our variables, in this case, a string. Functions are always found with an opening and closing parentheses. Sometimes stuff is inside of those parentheses, but not always. You don't always have to have stuff inside of it. Depends on what the trick wants. Functions also return stuff. So once your trick is done, just like your dog coming back for a treat, this thing's going to return something back to you. But if something is returned back from the function is nothing there is to catch it, then the information is forgotten. Remember in our lecture 1, if we don't have anything there to remember our numbers as we're adding 1 plus 2, then the information just gets lost because our computer just forgets about it. So in this case, we need to make sure we have a variable there to catch whatever's returned from our trick, from our function. In this case, we can include another variable here if we wanted to, called name upper, aka upper for uppercase. I just don't want to put uppercase because I'd run out of room. So I said name upper here and the const. So let's go ahead and see this trick in action. Down here, we have pet name. I'm going to go ahead and clear out is awesome real quick in this example and just comment out our console log up here. And now we're going to actually do this trick, do this function on pet name. So help me out here. How do I go ahead and convert or change my pet name to all uppercase? What do I start with?
We'd start with pet name.
Pet name.
Very good, pet name. The
Pet.
variable I want to do something with, to do a trick on, to use a function with. Oh, and I'm not typing. Oh my gosh. Pet name, very good. And then how do I go ahead and tell it to go uppercase?
Dot to uppercase.
Very good. Dot to uppercase.
Uppercase function.
And don't forget about those opening and closing parentheses. Opening and closing parentheses. Always, always, always. Now, if I run this right now, we see that,
No.
dang it, Replit, I cannot wait to leave you. What do I want to do? Just so it does it. If I ran this actually, and Replit did not try to help me out there we go. Now I don't get anything back. Our information, once it went to uppercase, got completely forgotten. So what do we need to do here so we can actually see if our stuff got capitalized?
Let.
Reassign it.
Yeah, we're going to assign it to a variable. We're going to call it name upper, just like we saw in the example. Very good. And you said start with let. Awesome. Now we actually want to see human eyes see this variable. So what do we have to put it? What do we have to put it in?
Console.log. Name upper.
Console.log. Awesome job, everyone. Just like that. All right, moment of truth. Let's go ahead and press that run button, see what happens. And there we go. We see Bella in all caps. Awesome. You all just made your string do its first trick. You all did your first function here on this string. Saw Bella get all capitalized and console logged it so we can actually see what just happened. So I'm going to pause here for just a moment. Any questions on these kinds of function calls or making our strings do stuff like this?
The pet name itself is still in the original form, right?
Very good question. You're absolutely right. The original pet name is still in its original form. So we're going to put that in right there. Push run, and Bella is still in its capitalized form.
So why do we have to do, oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut somebody off.
Oh, go ahead, Henry. I'm not hearing anybody else.
So why did you have to do console.log and pet name in parentheses and then below that console.log with another parentheses?
I think it's just a mistake.
Oh, right here. Oh, that's just so we didn't see Bella just printed out from Replit. So you didn't have to do that. Sorry about that.
Oh,
that was just to do a little extra space on the bottom. Nope, that is all you need right there.
So you had called it a function, but in the reading it described to uppercase as a method.
So that's a great question also, and you're gonna dislike programmers even more. back from the day. A method and function are actually synonymous. But in JavaScript, it's referred to as functions. So that's actually a typo. In Java, they're referred to as methods. In C#, they're referred to as methods. In Python, they're referred to as functions. So yes, they are the same exact thing. Why do they change names? Because someone said so. But literally, there's literally no difference. So great question. So
I thought methods were a subset of functions.
No, methods and functions are just the exact same thing. Functions don't, so functions and methods don't have subsets of each other. Don't think of subsets. There's something out there that will click more with that definition, but no, functions and methods in this case will always be synonymous.
So I don't know, it was explained to me that methods the methods are specific to an object. So, you know, in this case, the string object or the whatever object dot, because it's specific to that makes it a method. At least that's how it was explained to me in the past.
So that could be a way of possibly describing it, except that if you truly think about it, in any object-oriented programming language, all methods or functions will be related to some object in some capacity. There are no free-floating functions out there. They always have an object associated with them.
Well, at least I'm actually here. I cannot believe I thought today was Tuesday for some weird reason.
No worries. But no, so in any context in this class, functions and methods will be used as a synonymous term and are interchangeable, but in JavaScript, it is referred to as functions.
Interesting, because the book actually refers to it as method.
Right, and as I just said, that is it can be an oversight, but again, it is such a gray zone. If I see method in there, I know what a method is because it's the same thing as a function. It really is just a word that's used interchangeably.
So on line 6, where you have pet name and you previously had name upper, is that what changes Bella to all uppercase? Is like just using the let name upper be the console log?
So this is where the magic happens right here. This dot to uppercase. This converts Bella to uppercase. And then once that magic is done, it's placed inside of this variable here, called name upper. So if we run this right now, we see that Bella is not all uppercase.
Right.
It's not all uppercase because we're not using the variable that has the uppercase Bella locked away inside of it. Because remember, this is where the magic happens, and then it's saved to this variable over here, name upper. So if we console log name upper real quick, then it will be all caps Bella. Does that help out?
Yeah.
All right, Tracy, does that help out? Okay. Awesome. Any other questions about this? Because this is the first time we're truly getting into functions. And my favorite question is console.log a function? It absolutely is. Anything with those parentheses is technically a function. You are utilizing functions before you even knew it. So mind blown, right? At least a little bit.
Yep.
I'll take a little bit, right? My mind was blown one day. Never figure that out. So if you ever see those parentheses open and close, you are utilizing a function or a method. In this case, JavaScript functions. Well, yes. Any other questions regarding that?
I have one, Kyle.
Yeah, what's up?
So is there any scenario where we changed kind of the variable we were using from pet name to name upper, and like in that line 5 there? Is there any scenario where like on line 3, if you wrote like let pet name equal Bella, and then could you change 5 to just say like pet name equals pet name dot to uppercase, or do you always need a new variable name there?
That's a great question. You are absolutely right. Recycle your variables, save the planet. You are absolutely correct in this, and this is usually the approach, is that we will reassign from the function call. So if we ran this, after I, of course, put pet name down here, we run that, we get the same exact result back. So yeah, definitely reuse your variables if it's appropriate. So always ask yourself, can I do this? Am I going to be overwriting data I need later? If not, go ahead and reuse that variable, as long as it's a let. Great question.
Kyle, I have a question.
Yeah, what's going on?
Okay. If we use const in case of, instead of let, then we cannot reassign, right? The pet name. If you use,
Yep.
If you use first time instead of let, if you use const pet name equal to Bella, then can you reassign the pet name again?
No. If you said const here, we cannot reassign. We'll get a reassignment error on the right hand side.
Yes. Okay. That's much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep. Only we're allowed to do that. Awesome. Awesome. Any final questions before we keep going?
Can you use to uppercase or any method for that matter in the initial assignment? So can you say let pet name assignment operator Bella dot to uppercase? Can you do it that way, or do you have to reassign it further down?
Technically, you could do that. It's typically practiced to do your assignment first and then do function calls on it after. So let Bella at least take a breather as a variable for a moment and then start manipulating it. But you're absolutely able to do that if you'd like. So if we see this right here, I have Bella in quotes wrapped in parentheses and then say dot to uppercase. And we run this again and we see that's Bella all case. So you can do this all within one line, but it's typically not recommended always to do it like that. Great question. All right, anything else?
And no actual arguments are passed to uppercase, right? Like you cannot pass something inside of those parentheses, right? You can't actually pass arguments to that?
Nope, because some functions don't need anything. So for to uppercase, it already knows what it's going to do. I'm going to capitalize every single character within this string. It knows what it needs to do. Things are passed inside those parentheses when it needs extra information. What do you exactly want me to do? We can know a good example of that in console.log. If you just put console log with nothing in the parentheses, as you already know, it doesn't print out anything. It needs that information inside of its parentheses. What do I need to print out? So that's why you include it inside of there. So there are some functions that require things in the parentheses and some that do not. To uppercase is one that does not.
Is there any sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, you can carry on.
I just wanted to ask if if we wanted to update if we wanted to just have Bella the B be uppercase, would we use bracket notation?
So if you just wanted to capitalize the first letter of Bella?
Yeah.
So in that case,
index 0, a pet name, dot to uppercase.
So you can. So if you just wanted, say, we have a lowercase b here, we'll change it to lowercase b, and you only want that b then to be uppercase, you could technically use bracket notation and then dot to uppercase on that. But what will pet name now be?
It would be B. It would just be capital B.
Just B.
It's just going to be a capital B now.
Okay.
So we couldn't do that. In fact, so if you wanted to do that, you're going to have to do some extra fancy stuff. We haven't really learned too much about, but you'd have to rebuild the string all from scratch with that capital B in there for right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question there, too. All right, everyone. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Wasn't it just we would use let, we put pet name equal capital Bella?
Let pet name equal, like if you wanted to just have a capital B like that?
Yeah, you would just put, after the let, you would just put pet name equal and then capital B-E-L-L-A, and it would console log to capital Bella.
So is it kind of like what you're seeing right here? So this capital B right here, or are you adding another line?
Another line. So after let, you would then do another line equals capital B-E-L-L-A if it was
so you're saying to reassign?
Yeah, wouldn't that work?
Oh, yeah, of course, of course. If you want to just reassign it by hard coding Bella in there, hard coding means putting the direct string in there, you absolutely can. If you wanted to use bracket notation, that's kind of what the example we were going through to see if bracket notation would do that. As we saw, bracket notation only returns the B there, so we only manipulated the B and saved that. But you're absolutely correct. If you want to just do that on forward and reassign it to however you want Bella to be shown, you're okay to do that.
Okay.
Is there any method if we want selected characters in a string to make it uppercase?
So I'm sorry. Just to make one character uppercase.
If we want selected number of characters in a string to make it uppercase, we have any method for that?
To make a certain amount of characters uppercase inside of a string.
Yeah. In case here. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's very specific, and we do not have something like that. The functions that come pre-made are for very simplistic reasons. So we do not have those. But I like that question, and let's go ahead and move forward here and dive into a couple more tricks or functions that strings can do to help us out. So let's go ahead and learn one more trick here. So we got our pet name Bella here. So we say pet name, and now we're going to learn something new. This one is going to say dot length. This is one we've already heard during class just for a moment, but I want to bring it up here. This dot length. Now, this right here, this trick, what it does is returns the length of the string. I love the names of functions that they give us because it does give us quite a bit of context about what it does. This one will return the length of the string. Awesome. So if we say const name length equals pet name, it's going to return 5. Now, one thing I really want to show or talk about, and I'm happy to have you all on mute because someone's probably yelling at me, we are missing something very specific at the very end of this. I said tricks end with parentheses. Well, to correct myself or add more context around that, functions always have parentheses after them. Excuse me. Functions always have parentheses at the end of them. This right here is not a function. This is called a property. Functions will do some kind of manipulation to a string, to a different kind of data type. Functions will do some kind of manipulation to this thing, this variable. Properties is something that gives back information about the variable. In this case, it's giving you information about the length of the variable or the length of the string. So let's dive a little bit more deeper into this. We're going to have Bella here. And Bella's functions or tricks is speak and shake. Well, pet name has 2 uppercase as a trick, but also has the length of property. So I am going to take one back. So to dive a little bit more into what properties are, think of if we talked about Bella and what her properties are. She has 4 paws, she has 2 ears, things like that. Those are properties about Bella, about a dog. We don't need functions like speak or shake to talk about that. Those, again, are manipulations or tricks that we can do on the strings. So that is the 2 things I really want to talk about between length and functions here. So what I'm going to do real quick is that we're going to get the length of Bella back. So we're going to say pet name dot length here. We're going to run this. We see that we get back a very, very dim 5 in our console on the right-hand side. So again, this right here is a property. Real quick, if you want to know any more small little tricks that they can do, you'll say pet name. Some other ones that we have are to lowercase. That will make all of our characters inside of this string to lowercase. So I'm going to run that. We see that now Bella is all lowercase. I heard one earlier, and we can go ahead and do that real quick. We'll say index of. And we'll say, I want the index of E, please. E has to be in double quotes or single quotes because it is a string. We run this, and it gives us back what index E is at. Remember, B is 0, E is 1. So index of gives us that. Oh, I'm having, yeah, there's that brain block. I'm trying to think. There was one more I wanted to show you all. Can't really think of it right now, though. If I do, I'll bring it up. So I'm going to pause there then just for one more moment on you guys, and then yell any last second questions we got here before we hop into something else.
Was it true?
Kyle, what if you did index of L since there are 2 L's up there?
Thank you. That is, oh my gosh, Joyce, thank you. That is exactly what I wanted to do after that. I was like, what did I want to talk about? Yes, L. What do you think the answer would be now that we're chatting?
Isn't
Two.
it just the first one?
Two.
The first one?
You're absolutely right.
Sequential.
It returns the first index it finds and gets out of there. So yes, it will always be 2. So if you have multiple L's in there or multiple different characters you're looking for, it will give you back the first index it finds, and then that's it. It won't give you back multiple. So
And
great question.
Is there any way around that to like get a specific variable you're searching for or a symbol in it? A character, I mean, I'm sorry.
You're gonna have to. Go ahead.
Like
There's
say
a
you're looking for
last
something
index
further
of
along.
method, and then anything in between you'd have to do some kind of loop and slicing.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All
right
right,
here,
yeah.
exactly correct. But yeah, so you have a last index you can do, so you can find like the last one of it. But we haven't talked about slicing or splicing or looping or anything like that. But there are tactics out there that you can get around it. It just gets a little bit more tricky and definitely becomes a more fun algorithm to develop.
Cool.
Great
How
question.
about replace?
Dot replace. You can do a dot replace if you want to do that. So place, and what you can do here, it takes in 2 different things inside of its parentheses. You will say, what do you want to replace? So I'm going to replace the, I'm going to replace the E with an A. Why not? I'll be Bala. And let's go ahead and see what that does now. And we have now Bala. So what that does is it replaces the first E it finds with A, but it only replaces one occurrence of it. So with the first E it sees, it replaces it with A and stops, gets out of there.
Could you do that with, like, in line 7, replace integer 1 with integer 4? I think that would be it, right? 2.
Are you saying to
The
place a number?
Yeah, like bracket notation, and then 1.
Or are you saying put it inside of here?
And then with the second part, bracket notation 4. Would that then switch those letters around?
Technically, it would only replace the 1 with whatever you have on there as 4. So it actually just replace E with A.
Right, but it switches them. It doesn't switch them around?
It doesn't switch them around.
Oh.
What you're asking it to do is replace E, which is in pet name, square bracket 1, with whatever in pet name of 4, which is A. So it doesn't switch them. It simply just replaces whatever it finds here in 1 with whatever you show in 4. So we should still get back Bala here.
Gotcha, thank you.
Absolutely. So I'm seeing a couple questions here. So is index of method or property? It is a method. Remember, methods, or excuse me, functions are what have parentheses. Index of had a parentheses there of what it was trying to find. Therefore, it makes it a function. Properties do not have parentheses at the end. Remember, dot length has no parentheses at the end. All right, everyone. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and keep on going. Great, great, great. Everyone, you just learned a bunch of functions there that can help out with strings. So that is great to see. I see one more person typing. I'll wait for just a moment. I'm going to keep on going here. Is there a function to search for a string within a section? You're going to have to tell me exactly what section means. If you're looking for a string, if you're searching for a string within a string, you would say that index of. You can search for a whole string where that index is. I am trying to see. Diaz, we have not gotten into arrays yet, so we can't really go into that method. Excuse me, that function. But I will try to, please remind me that whenever we get down to it, and I will definitely come back to it. Awesome, awesome. All right, everyone, let's keep diving into this. Bring it back, take a deep breath. We went through a lot of examples there. That was a ton of stuff. Whew. All right. Everybody ready for this? Cool. You are right now learning JavaScript. You just learned a lot of stuff about functions, about information, data, variables, everything going through these computers as they're thinking or looking at your language in JavaScript. You're writing this stuff in JavaScript, that's awesome. You are learning your programming language. Now, one thing in programming languages that we need to talk about is, especially in JavaScript, and also Java when we get to Unit 2, but mostly in JavaScript right now, is that as we're developing this stuff, we are creating functions and information for things, for applications to work. As you know, the dog here that we have with the dot speak and dot shake that we're sharing on these slides, these two tricks that it has, this dog is an object. It can do things. This thing can do things. So when we're looking at the dog being able to do tricks or being able to perform some kind of action, we can say it's an object. The same with pet name. Pet name is a thing. It contains information and it can do stuff, just like a dog. It can go to uppercase. It can show you its length. It can go to lowercase. We can do index up. We can do replace. We can do splicing. We can do substrings, whatever. Pet name is much more than just the data is inside of it. It's what we can do with the data that makes it so powerful, which makes programming so powerful. It's because we have objects, things that contain information that can do stuff. So remember that when we're looking at our variables, it's much more than the number 1, than true or false, than Bella or Stark. It contains powerful things within itself to help us achieve some kind of challenge or goal that we want to program for. So remember that as we move forward. Objects are everywhere. Objects are things inside of JavaScript, and we have to know what kind of powers they have and how to utilize them properly. So that being said, in that small introduction to objects, let's go ahead and do a quick recap here. It's been so long since we chatted, but help me out. Which does not allow variables to be reassigned? Let or const?
Const.
Very good. Const, aka constant. It stays constant. Fantastic. Which is a function? myvar.option A or myvar.option B?
Option A.
Very good. This one is the function. Yes, option A is the function because it has the parentheses. It's got that mouse right there. It's got the parentheses. Very good. How do we get a character from a string? Option 1 or option 2?
Option 2.
Option
Option 2. Very good. Bracket notation. Square brackets is how we get information out of those strings. Very good, everyone. Which is the greater than or equal comparator? Left or right?
First one.
The left one. Very good with that mouse like that. There we go. Mouse and equal. Your alligator's got a tail. Awesome. Love my 3rd grade analogies right there. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Which is a property? The thing, option D, or the thing, option C?
The
thing, option D. D.
Why is it a property?
No, wait. D. Option D.
Option D.
Option D. Why is it D?
Oh,
There is no parentheses.
because there's no parentheses.
There's no parentheses. Very good, everyone. All right. Ready for the toughest question of the day? What is the dot over the lowercase I or J in the English
operator.
language
Dot.
called?
The lowercase
Access operator. Oh wait.
This is not a coding question, but I love that question back.
What is it? What is that?
Very good. It is the till. Absolutely. Very good. We got some smarty pants in here. I just heard some future trivia players right there.
I
need
played
trivia
too
people
much
on my
trivia.
team. Oh my gosh. Don't say that. I need people on my team. We have lost every week, every Wednesday. Oh my gosh. Awesome job, everyone. It's the till. Very, very good. All right. I see smiles on people's faces. That's what I like to see. Whew. All right. Take that deep breath. Let's keep on learning some stuff here. All right. Let's bring back to Bella. Bella is the star of the show tonight. Let's break her into pieces here. We have our indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, bringing it back here. So these blocks help us organize our characters into words. Yes, we know this. We know our strings can be broken in to these boxes here to store our information. Fantastic. So let's bring Bella in here to talk to us. We're gonna say her favorite treat today is the tennis ball, and then her second one is going to be the bone, and then also the rope. Now, Bella, the name, can be organized into multiple boxes. So her name there can be put into 0, put into 1, put into 2. But how can we organize her treats? She's got so many treats. To even ask you another question, what if Bella, because she just loves everything, she's very spoiled, has 200 treats? Now, in the case that we just looked at, we're gonna have to declare 200 variables in order for to store all of her beautiful treats there because she doesn't want to get rid of any of them. Do you want to sit there and declare 200 variables? If you said yes, well, you might be a coder because you're a little crazy there, but I would not want to do that. Instead, I want to have something out there that can contain my information more easily. Again, why I wouldn't want to do 200 variables is that also you have now 200 variables to take care of to make sure that they're okay, they don't get reassigned accidentally. So let's get rid of all of that stuff. We don't want to do 200 variables. We want something to contain all of our treats here much more cleanly, if you will. So to do this, to actually contain information, just like how Bella was contained above, to contain her treats down here, we're going to use a thing called arrays. We're going to be introduced today to arrays to help us contain information inside of it. Let's go ahead and take a look at this a little bit deeper. Right here is an array. Welcome to arrays. It contains information. You saw this with Bella. Arrays start at the 0th index, just like how we spelt with B, the capital B at the 0th index. So we have been introduced to what an array looks like. Let's see how it's actually coded. Let's code our first array here. I'm going to say let favorite treats ARR. ARR is just abbreviated for array. You'll see ARR abbreviated arrays and a lot of examples, both in launch code and also out in the wild. Now, start actually creating this array. To start creating an array, we start with the square bracket. When you're working with arrays, you're most likely going to be always using square brackets, as we saw with bracket notation. Now to create an array, we use that square bracket too. All right, let's start packing this full of information. The first thing is tennis ball. We put tennis ball in double quotes because it is a string. We're saying we want to put a string inside of this array. Then take a very close look here. We separate it by a comma. Then we're going to throw in bone and rope. Finally, once we have all of our treats in this array, you're going to stop it by putting that closed square bracket with a semicolon as always on the end. This right here is the creation of an array. Let's go ahead and bring that right over here and take a look. I'm going to say let fav treats array, just like that. And we're going to create our array. Help me out one more time. Go ahead and tell me, what do we start? What symbol do we use to start creating an array?
Square bracket.
Square bracket. Very good. And again, I am not typing on the right screen. Perfect. All right. And then help me add tennis ball in here.
Quotation marks.
String.
Tennis ball.
Very good. Quotation marks to start creating a string. Awesome job. So we say tennis ball. Awesome, awesome. And then what do we use? That was nice. Very good. You don't even know, you don't even need to hear the question. You know exactly how to do this. Yes, we separate all of our entries into our array using the comma. So we say comma, and then we say bone here. And then we say rope. Those were our 3 toys that we wanted to create for Bella. Awesome. So we were able to create that, but we don't really know exactly how to utilize this array that we've done. What if Bella wants to go ahead and play with the bone or play with a tennis ball? Let's go ahead and see that. We will do it, access the information exactly how we did it with when we were trying to get the capital B from the name Bella. We use bracket notation. Always, always, always to access information inside of our arrays. Bracket notation. So if we console log favorite treats array and just do that one, I'm going to go ahead and comment out our console log above there. And I'm going to say console log down here on line 9. I'm going to spell console right. I'm going to try to get tennis ball out of fav treats array. First thing to do is I call to fav treats array, just like that. And now I call to what I want. Do I want tennis ball, bone, or rope? Anybody got a particular toy I should get out of there? What should I get? Tennis ball, bone, or rope? We got a favorite dog toy. Bone. All right, very good question. How do I get bone out of there then?
One.
Oh, you guys got it. All right, absolutely right. We just put 1 in there, and we are now asking for whatever's in the 1th first index. So we are going to go and run this, and now we got bone back. Very good. So this is how we access that information. Now, some people have always asked, okay, what if I want to get multiple at one time? Can I just put 1, 2 in there? No, we cannot do that. If we run this, we get a, well, again, this is Replit. You do not want to do this. This will not work. Do not try to do that at home. Replit is being very forgiving, but do not put commas in there. Can you do this? You cannot do that either. In this one, you are getting you're gonna get a very weird thing back. So this one right here, you are asking to get bone back, and then you're asking inside of bone, this is bone now, you wanna get this, whatever is in the third index, or the third character in bone, which is N. So if you're asking yourself, why did you get bone back? Because you just said, hey, I want you to get bone here. I want you to get whatever's in the second index there, which is N. There you go. That's a fun little trick. All right. Gonna pause there. We're gonna go on to one more thing here. What if we wanted to change one of our things inside of our array? This is we're absolutely able to do this. We can manipulate our array as much as we want. What if we want to change tennis ball to beach ball? Let's go ahead and see that. To do that, what we need to do is get favorite treats array at wherever we want to change it at bracket notation 0, and say what we want to change it to. In this case, it's beach ball. Here, we're reassigning inside of the array. We're reassigning a value inside of the array. So we can change our array indexes. We can change the values inside those indexes in particular. So what we're gonna do here is I can say fav treats array here. Oops, index 0. I want it to be now beach ball, just like that. I run this, and I'm actually gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna put favorite treats back to just getting the 0th index here. I'm gonna run this. We see now we get back beach ball. Now, if you are trying to change things inside of array, make sure you are always adding the bracket notation. If I take this out and I forget to put it in there, what happens? Well, you just reassigned your entire chest of hundreds of toys for Bella to just beach ball. Bella's not gonna be happy. You just got rid of all of her toys and assigned it just to beach ball. So make sure that if you need to manipulate something inside of the array, you include that bracket notation. All right, I'm seeing a question here. Well, Morris, can you still change the names in the array if you declared it using const my array? You absolutely can. So if you are doing that, there we go. Run that. We see beach balls there. So yes, you can actually declare const and change the information inside of the array. Now, why can you do that? Because you declared a const. Because you're not changing what it's equal to. It still is that array. You're changing what's inside of it. So you're okay with that. Or so JavaScript is okay with that. You're changing around the container. Remember, an array is a data container. It's full of information inside of it. You're changing some information inside of the container, not the container itself. So yeah, great question there. You are absolutely able to do that. We'll do that at the very end. If we want to do a splice example, I can do it at the very end, Vieja. All right, I'll do a splice thing at the very end. We can get into that one. Splice and slice are two very interesting ones to look at. So if we want to do that, I'll absolutely do it. Let's finish up our stuff here, and we'll keep that in mind. While I say that, I'm actually write my note there. Do like a good splice and slice example. All right. Can we access two treats or no? You can access two treats. It will just have to be on two different lines for two different calls. So if I want to say for my message, const my message equals Bella likes plus our fave treats array at 0, and I say and I know I have a little equals in there. I'll change that in a second. And my fave treats at 1. Just like that. And then I console log my message down here. So we can access two, just not at the exact same time, just like that. So if I run that, we see that Bella likes beach ball and bone. So this is how we could access two within one line, just not the exact same time. So Candace, hopefully that helps out a little bit there. Does that help out? Okay. All right. Cool. Alrighty. We're going to keep on going here. I need to get going. I'm almost caught up to you guys and all your questions. We're going to have to learn one more thing here. So let's go ahead and talk about collecting our treats. So we have our favorite treats here, tennis ball, the bone, and the rope. So as we already know from strings, arrays also do to have some tricks up their sleeves. So that's what we're going to check out next. So let's go and check out some tricks here, bringing that fave treats array. And the first thing I want to talk to you guys all about is the includes. Includes is a way to search through the entire array to see if it actually has something inside of it. Does the favorite treats array have bone inside of it? This is going to return a true or false. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So what I'm going to do is comment out these. Well, you are definitely not being my friend today. Come on. There we go. Jeez. All right, there we go. Okay, so console log. What I'm going to do is just going to console log it just so we can see what's in there. So fave treats array dot includes bone. Awesome. We're going to run this and see what it returns. We see that it returns a Boolean, in this case, true. So remember, includes returns a Boolean. So what, of course, can we do with that? We can include these kinds of tricks inside of our conditionals. So as you know, conditionals are with if statements. So just for a quick example, if fave treats array dot includes bone, then we do our curly brackets here. We say console log just because it's an easy thing to do. So we can see this console log. The bone is accounted for. Ella loves her bone. There we go. Run that. And we see the bone is accounted for because we used it in a Boolean. Now, if we say chew toy, and we run this again. Oh, that's my bad. I say chew toy down here in the actual conditional, CHEW toy. There we go. We run that. We see that nothing comes back because this if statement was not triggered because chew toy is not in our array. So includes returns a Boolean. So let's go ahead and we're going to do one more. We'll talk about the const array thing at the very end too. So yes, this returns true because bone is inside of the array. Let's go and take a look at one more function here. Just want to make sure that we stay within time here. Fave treats.array dot, and you've already seen this one, index of bone. Index of bone. You've already seen what index of does, so I'm not going to truly demonstrate this one over in Replit, but the index of bone will return what index bone is at. In this case, tell me, which index is it at? Just go ahead and mouth it. Answer yourself. It's in 1. Very good. Awesome job, everyone. It is in the first, it is in the first index here, so it's right there. So that's what index of does. It looks for each, or it looks through each single one and then returns the first one it finds. In this case, it's 1. If you have 2 bones in your favorite array list, it's of course always going to return the first index it finds. All right, last but not least, let's do one more. Fave treats dot push. Now this is a very, very important one. Dot push is extremely popular with arrays. Now we know that, that Bella loves all her toys, but she loves collecting more. When you have to add more information to your array, aka give your dog another toy, you use a dot push. What push does is it adds information into your array. So let's go and see that in action. So I do fave treats array dot push, and have you all talk to me. Someone give me another dog toy out there. Have we got one?
A group.
A rope? What was it?
Like one of those tug rope things. I don't know.
Oh, oh my gosh.
What a Kong.
There we go. Yeah, there I can spell. I was like, perfect. All right, Kong it is. Let's do Kong. Awesome, awesome. Console.log and then fave treats array. Cool. All right, we're gonna console log the whole thing to see if it got pushed in there. Dogs love those Kongs too. Always, always. Oh, come on. Sometimes Replit just doesn't want to work. Let's go and refresh you. It's been a long day for you too, Replit. I get it. There we go. And press run. And let's go and see. There we go. We see beach ball, bone, rope, and Kong now. So take a close look at this. See where it pushed it at. It pushes it out at the end. So we see Kong right there at the end. Now before I saw a question about pop. So let's go ahead and see what pop does. Pop is how we reduce the information inside of an array. We get rid of something. So let's go and see that. Treats array dot pop. Run this. And we see we got rid of Kong. What pop does is it removes the last index of your, thank you, the last element of your array. In this case, it was Kong. So we pushed Kong and then we popped it and then we printed it out. So we see that pop took away Kong. Now, take a close look at these methods or functions here. We noticed that we did not have to have a variable on the left-hand side to capture what happened inside of it. I will not have a good way to tell you when or when not you need a variable on the left-hand side, other than just pure wisdom as we move forward. Push and pop do not. They will directly manipulate the array for you. Push and pop do not. They will directly manipulate the array for you. If you put a variable over here, const my thing, after pop, what this does actually is it returns what information got popped. So we run that, and we see that we get Kong back. So if you put the variable on the left-hand side of the pop, it will actually tell you what got popped, what got removed from the array. If you really want to know what exactly needs a return or needs a variable on the left-hand side and what doesn't, the documentation, unfortunately, always is the best source of information. Or W3 schools. Those are also two good things. It will always show you exactly. Or just trial and error too. Feel free to get in here. I promise you, every time you click that run button, it's absolutely fine. You can break it. It's okay. You don't have to buy it. So go ahead and try things out yourself. Building wisdom from mistakes is the best way to improve your knowledge in coding. Awesome. So I know there was a question about that. So hopefully that answers it for pop. I know that was a little bit into the lecture, but anything else around that before I dive into one more question here, or two more questions? All right. Let's talk about slice and splice. Oh, excuse me. All right, so splice is a way of, I wish I had like some kind of thing right here to like, this is an array. So you do have your array. A splicing is kind of thinking like, take out a piece and then put something in there instead, like a whole new shebang. I want to I don't even want to like edit it. I want to take it out and I want to replace it with something else. That is a common thing to do in arrays. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's say I want to completely erase bone and I want to put in Kong there permanently. So how would we do that is that we would do fave treats array dot splice, and then splice takes in, as we see from this smart suggestion here on the screen, which is very helpful, takes in 3 different things. So the first one is the start number. What do I basically want to remove?
The index.
So bone.
Index.
So yeah, absolutely. So it is the index, but we got to talk about what that index actually is. It's where we want to remove the thing. In this case, I want to remove bone, which is at 1. So the index of what I want to remove. And then delete count. How much do I want to remove? Do I want to remove bone and rope? I just want to remove bone. I just want to remove one thing. So I just put 1 there. And then what I want to insert instead. If I want to do this, I can also just remove this. We'll go and take a look at this real quick and see what happens. It should just remove bone. Run that. There we go. It just removed bone. But what if I want to replace it with Kong? And I can add one more thing here.
Like strings, yeah.
Yeah, we can add one more string there. We run this. We see that Kong is right there at that exact index. So this is a splice. So when you want to take something out, randomly in the middle of it or somewhere off to the side of the array, not on the ends. And then if you want, you can put something back in there. In this case, we put Kong back inside of this, back inside of the array.
So
this
could
is how
you,
yeah.
Could you refresh on the first integer in that splice? What does that first one do? What does the first
right
one
here?
do? Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one tells me 0, 1, or 2. I said I
Okay.
want to remove bone. Bone is at 1. That is what this 1 stands
Index
for.
number.
And then the second one?
Second one is how much do I want to remove? Do I want to remove just one thing or 2 things? If I say
Okay.
2 things, so if I say 2, we'll actually remove bone and rope and replace it with Kong.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So every function out there, as you've already noticed, and as I will continue to say throughout lecture, has its own personality, what information it needs to do its job. So that's what we have to learn about. Unfortunately, this is the true nature of coding. What functions do I need to use? What information do they need? And how can I use them to approach my problem? This is what we'll be learning over the next few weeks.
Doesn't splice, if you don't put in a delete argument, is that the one? There are a bunch of them, so I might be getting it confused. But there's one where if you don't put in an argument to tell it how many things to delete, it will delete from whatever index number you put in to the end of the array. You will just, whatever you put in will just be sucked out all the way to the end of the array if you don't provide an argument. And I can't remember if it's splice that does that, or if there's another one that where that happens.
Yeah. So splice would have been the only one I could think of that you'd want to do that for arrays. So yeah, splice is absolutely correct. So if you just put in one parameter, or excuse me, one thing here for 1, it will just take out everything else to the right of it. So yep, splice is the correct one. So it'll take out bone, rope, and whatever's after it if you don't put in a stop. Basically, how many you want to delete. Since we'll put in a 1, 1 there. So we only delete one thing. So great question there. Anything else? If you make a mistake and erase stuff you don't want, it's not permanent. It's not permanent, right? You just delete your code asking for the slice. So what are you talking about while you're running the code, or I guess, can you elaborate a little bit?
Like he said, that like you can delete the entire array. So if you do an oops where you're like, oh crap, I just deleted the entire array, can't you just delete that line of code that asked for the splice in the first place and then it'll revert, right?
Yeah,
Is
or
it like
just
an eraser when you delete it?
Well, so are you talking about during one running or when you? Or
Yeah,
two
so
runs?
like if line 15 said that you wanted to push Kong in, but you didn't mean to, then you just delete that, right? And then Kong is not pushed in and you're back to your original code. I'm just in my head trying to figure out, what if I make the mistake that he said, that Jody said, where he said, you delete the entire array, and I'm like, oh shit, you know, and then I go back and
I'm gonna back.
Yeah, when it comes to that, that's when we talk about doing baby steps in your code. So always use console log to see what the code you just created actually does when you press that run button. So if you do that oops, then you're able to do baby steps back much faster to fix that problem, or at least locate it too. So yeah, you're completely safe, right? As long as your computer didn't blow up for whatever reason, hopefully it didn't, you're able to come back and try again. But just make sure as you're trying that, do take those baby steps. Don't feel like you need to do 18 lines of code and then press run. Keep working little by little. Every time you create a variable, make sure, or it's being reassigned, console log it. Make sure it's what you expect. So no, you're absolutely safe in this sandbox. The only time you can't do that is if you're in the middle of runtime. If you delete that information, it's gone. If you forget about that array and you're in that runtime, it's gone. But that's why we run things very, very frequently to make sure we're not going to do that during the big run or whenever you're actually showing your assignment to your TA or something like that. So great question there. No, you're absolutely safe. Trial and error is a very good way to learn. So no, awesome job. Awesome question.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So whenever you're doing the splice, and if you select a number, like say your second number, say you select 2, will it take 2 ropes? I mean, or bones? You only have like one ball.
It'll take off bone and rope, I assume. It would take off.
So for
2 and 3.
for splicing, you're talking about keeping the one here, right? And then what did you want to put in this area?
Just 3.
You want to put in 3? So basically with this one, it will just keep running. So you don't have 3 things to delete because you have bone, rope, and then nothing at that 3rd index. So it would just continue to keep going.
How about
Just
if
not
you
remove
put
anything.
0? If you put 0 and 3.
Put 0 here.
No. First index 0.
Oh, you want to do 0 and 3.
0 and 3. 3 item element. Yeah. All
And that's
gone.
just going to remove everything. So you're actually just going to have an empty array. Yep. Now, awesome. Yeah. So I welcome you all to go ahead and try out these functions. Go ahead and seek them out. Remember, there's documentation out there. So please feel free to go and see. There's a lot more than the ones we just went over. We went only over 6. There are hundreds out there. So feel free to go ahead and check them out on your own. So with that, everyone, we are at time here. So I'm going to stop sharing here. I love the questions that you all are just asking. I love just like the absolute curiosity behind it all. So keep asking those questions. As Sean says, keep challenging me. Please try to back me into a corner and get me stumped. I love it when that happens. But awesome job on just, honestly, the true curiosity. I love it. I love it. I love it. So that is all I have for you all today. Thank you very much. Feel free to go to your small groups now. Remember that I'm going to be doing a studio review tonight starting at about 8:15. I forgot to put that into the announcement. I apologize. 8:15 I'll be starting a studio review here. Feel free to join. If you want to stick with your small groups, go ahead. It's all going to be recorded. Other than that, everyone, have a fantastic week. Thanks for sticking through this with me, and I will see you back here either later or on Thursday. Have a great night, everyone.